What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the 10-7 MMA show. We are back. Happy Friday, January the 9th. We are really in the mix here in 2026, the year of the UFC, the year of Paramount. I don't know if I told you this, guy. I actually last week, or what was it last week? Yeah, I think last week I got more UFC stock, believe it or not. So I'm really going in heavy on the TKO stock. Amidst all the stuff that's happening, amidst all the complaints, but I think there's a lot more positive than negative, way more positive than negative. And as we get closer and closer to this White House card, dude, there was news today that France, do you know what the G7 conference is?
No, I don't.
Okay. So it's like here, I'm going to read the little description. So it's an annual meeting of leaders from Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the UK, and the US. Okay. So it's like the big 7 countries or whatever are supposed to meet. Now, normally this summit was supposed to happen from June 14th to June 16th. Like, obviously US was supposed to be there, Trump was supposed to be there, all that stuff. Because of the UFC event on June 14th, they have delayed this is like one of the most important conferences of the year globally. They're delaying the G7 conference because of the UFC event, because Trump wants this like crazy birthday bash because it's his 80th birthday.
No shit.
His 80th birthday is on UFC White House. So crazy. So yeah, the UFC is making waves in the world on the global economic stage and whatnot. Tehran says, "What's up, Tehran? How you doing? Welcome back." Yeah, so pretty crazy, pretty interesting. Okay, anyways, that's just a fun little news story. But now let's get into the mix. We got a bunch of topics. By the way, Justin and I, if you can't tell, we're both in a hotel, and we are in Montana, once again, commentating for Fusion Fight League in Billings, Montana, the biggest city, I think, in Montana. Really, really cool city. I've been here for a day. Justin got in today, and we're going to be heading to the weigh-ins right after this. All right, let's get into our first topic. And I got to cue up this clip for you because it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. And I want to get your thoughts on this. I don't know if you've seen this. I hope you have it. All right. We're going to say Jon Jones on Daniel Cormier. The feud is back on. You remember back in the day, they had the fight at the face-off. They talked a lot of like crazy negative smack about each other when they were in that room, like doing the interview for Fox or whatever. But now Jon Jones has been on record and he's been trying to make amends with DC. He's turning a new corner, a new chapter in his life. And he wants to make amends with DC. He said this multiple times, hoping we can start a relationship. We can build a friendship. Like it's really been important to him. He's been trying and trying. They just did this reality show out in, I think, like Thailand. It's like a Russian reality show. You made the video about it. And Jon Jones keeps trying to make amends, to build a bridge. Daniel Cormier wants none of it. And I'd love to get your thoughts on, are you still there, Justin?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay. Oh, it looked like you were frozen for a second. All right. I just want to make sure. But yeah, Daniel Cormier, I'd love to get your thoughts in a second about how you would feel. Let's say if you were in this position, somebody who had a heated rivalry with, and then they kind of wronged you. They tested dirty. They created all these issues. They beat you twice, whatever. And then now they're trying to make amends. Maybe we can understand a little bit better of what's going on in Daniel Cormier's mind. Because to me, I'm like, that was years ago. I think it's kind of cool that Jon Jones is reaching out, but Daniel Cormier wants none of it. But anyways, I want to show you what Jon Jones, he's finally turned a corner. He's going back to the heel role. And after getting kind of rejected by Daniel Cormier multiple times, dude, he's come out of the gates swinging. Listen to what he has to say here. Check this out. Hold on. Let's take it. Oh, my God.
It feels like to be here with Daniel Cormier.
Man, it's an awesome experience to be here out in where are we? We're in Thailand. It's my second time being in Thailand this year. I got to spend a month out here in April, and now the majority of this month. And it's just been awesome, man. It's just so good for the mental health. I brought my family, I brought my wife out, my kids out, I brought my father out, and it was just great. It was a wonderful opportunity that a lot of my family won't forget.
Yeah, if you speak about the last episode and this one, what's the difference between them?
The last season and this season, I would say the biggest difference is getting to enjoy working with awesome fighters with awesome personalities. Last season, I was with Diaz, I was with Masvidal, and I was with.
Well, I'm gonna fast forward a little bit when he starts talking about DC.
What a stuffy.
Here it is.
Season is good. So much fun. It was lighthearted. It was cool. We made good memories. We hung out with each other. This season is against Daniel Cormier. Oh man, what a stuffy, just dickhead Cormier really is. I think if you really get to know Daniel Cormier, he's really not.
Yeah, it was nice.
He's an asshole. He was an asshole. I mean, he didn't really connect with any of the fighters here. He's just an asshole. I tried to make peace with him many times, and he made it very clear that he wants to be enemies for the rest of his life because how lucrative it is. And he's just a I don't know.
But you guys having fun here?
There was moments where we got to laugh, but for the most part, he's a dickhead. You look at the way that he treats his staff members. He brought like 10 yes men out with him and literally, go get me my water. Where's my this? Why is that this? It was just, he just bosses guys around. And the times we weren't filming, he wasn't very sociable with the people on set. He's just a dickhead. I think people that really work with him knows that.
Recently, you were in Russia, in Chechnya. How was that experience with Khamzat?
Oh my goodness, I had one.
Okay, we're gonna pause it. He waxes poetic about Khamzat. Very, very cool. But now, Justin, I got to get your take as the fighter because I want to dive into this kind of deeply because I think it's very fascinating. I'm gonna make a whole breakdown video about it later as well, specifically focusing on this feud. But from your experience, can you shed some light or get obviously I've had feuds too. It's not like I'm foreign to feuds, but I guess from your perspective, having been in there with some people that you haven't liked and things like that, can you try and explain a little bit about what Daniel Cormier might be feeling? Why does he not want to even try to make amends with Jon Jones at this point when Jon Jones seemed to have tried so many times so hard?
Honestly, he's probably just embarrassed. He kind of like dampened his legacy a little bit, and it's always just going to be a sore spot in the back of his mind when it comes to Jon Jones. There's a lot of trash talk back in the day, but honestly, as adults, kind of like how you said, I think with time heals everything. And personally, I've had feuds in the past, and I don't really have any animosity towards any former opponents. Obviously, never to the height of Jon Jones and Daniel Cormier. But it's been like 10 years. I think 2017 was the last time they fought.
Yeah.
I think it's time DC gets over it. And I've heard from other people that DC can be an asshole as well.
Really? Oh, that's interesting. Wait, so you've heard that like multiple times, or?
I wouldn't say multiple times, but I have heard it when people talk about him before.
Okay, well, that's
relatively arrogant. I've only had one interaction with him. I didn't really put a bad taste in my mouth. He was at a wrestling tournament I was at, and he commentated some of my fights. So I felt that I should have been able to go up to him and talk to him. He's commentated my fights before. So I was, hey, DC, man, what's going on, dude? Hey, this is my friend Elena, and she's a big fan. She just wanted to see if she could get a picture. I just remember him rolling his eyes and be like, come on. And then put his arm around her and then took the picture and walked away. And I was just like, oh, okay, that was kind of an asshole move. Like, sorry, man. Sorry I bothered you. So that was the last interaction I had with DC.
Okay, that's fair. I will let me play a little devil's advocate because I can also get where it might be he was just having a bad day or he was in the middle of something.
Could have been, absolutely. I don't want to go too deep on it, but I just remember that was the last interaction I had with him.
Sure. And no, I totally get that. I just want to make that caveat. We should always try to, not take too much from like a single interaction, but it's interesting that you've heard that because I was going to go another way. Wait, we got Tehran commenting about DC. Let me read this. He says, I don't blame DC. I don't get cool with my enemies either. Fair. And he says, yeah, DC is kind of arrogant. I do get that vibe from him. Interesting. Okay, because I was going to have a different take. Thomas Kareem is back in the house. He says, yo, what's up, fellas? What's up, Tom? Okay, I was actually going to take a different perspective. But this is very fascinating. Let me tell you my perspective, and then I want to turn it back over to you. Because to me, okay, again, I'm just watching DC on his YouTube channel. I watch all his content. I love Funky and the Champ. I think for all the crap that DC gets about commentating, I think he's phenomenal. I think you and I are commentating. We're trying to get better and better. We're trying to be at that level. I don't, I get the criticism, but most people who are criticizing DC have never tried to commentate, right? Like they have no idea what they're talking about. But we have a little bit of an understanding. I love listening to DC. I think his back and forth with Joe Rogan is fun. It's great with John Anik. The three of them are terrific. So anyways, I'm a big fan of DC. My take here was this was like John, and I like Jon Jones too, right? As a fighter and all that stuff, not getting into the personal stuff. But Jon Jones to me seemed like a girlfriend, an ex-girlfriend trying to get back together with you over and over and be like, come on, let's get back together. Let's get back. And you're just like, no, it's not happening. They're like, you know what? I don't want to get back together with you. You're an idiot. You're this, you're that. Like, to me, it was like somebody who's been smited so many times. And now he's just like, you know what? I'm going to go on the offensive. That's what it appeared to be to me. So I didn't really put a lot of credibility behind Jon Jones. I just figured now he's fed up. He's tried a million times. All his advances have been rebuffed. Now he's going on the offensive, going for the jugular. Do you think there's something to what I'm saying? Or do you feel like, no, maybe what Jon Jones is saying is actually pretty legit based on your experiences?
I mean, it could be. It's person to person. How it depends how every person handles situations and essentially situations differently. And that's how DC wants to handle it. I don't fault him for it. Yeah, I like your analogy about the ex-girlfriend. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
The last little bit about this whole feud that is the most exciting is that, yeah, it's fun to talk about. It's crazy. This gives us, I still remember watching that fight in 2017. I was in San Francisco. I was there for a conference, and I remember watching it on my phone. I figured out a way to get it and whatever. And oh my God, it was so crazy. Like that that was insane when Jon Jones beat DC. And I was rooting for Jon Jones too. And DC was doing really good. And then Jon Jones just caught him with the head dip and the head kick and boom. And then he chased him down. And then also Jon Jones's attack was so cerebral. He didn't go for headshots and overwhelm him. He was attacking the legs as DC was running away and just taking out. I mean, it was just so dope. So that if you guys haven't seen that fight, and for all you new fans who have no idea who DC and Jon Jones are, watch that fight in 2017. It'll blow you away. Unbelievable fight. But anyways, the silver lining of this feud being rekindled is that there's a high probability now these guys are going to either 1, wrestle or 2, box. They've talked about both. So I think that's dope personally. What do you think? Does that excite you to see them either wrestle in RAF, which Daniel Cormier says he'll beat Jon Jones 10-0. I guess that's called a tech or something. You probably know better than I do. Or boxing. Do either of those excite you? And if they do, does one excite you more than the other?
Ooh, I mean, they both are relatively exciting. Any kind of combat sport, you get 2 high-level athletes like Jon Jones and Daniel Cormier, but I think Daniel Cormier needs to sit down, man. I mean, this guy has, man, look at how big his belly is. This guy's so out of shape. He's rolling off the couch. He's already come out and said, oh, I'm retired. Why does this guy keep trying to prod me? And now to hear you say that he said that he wants to do this, I just can't see him taking training seriously. And I think he's just going to get embarrassed by Jon Jones.
It could be good for him, though. I think if they box, I have a feeling he's actually, I don't know. But yeah, I think if they box, I think Jon Jones will get him. If they wrestle, though, I don't know. DC still wrestles all the time. In his own words, he claims he'll tech him. So I don't know. Maybe wrestling will go that way. But I like the boxing. I think that's interesting. I'll pay for that. I'll go to that. That's fascinating to me to see DC get back in there after all these years. So I don't know. That's the silver lining. I'm kind of excited by it. It might be kind of lame to most people, but I think it's great. I think it's great. People need to see this. We need to see this. They can make some money. Let's see. Okay. Although Jon Jones may not even be free to box. We have no idea. I'm sure DC is at this point, but Jon Jones might still be. I wouldn't be surprised if he's still locked up in his contract. I wouldn't be surprised. Well, we got one beef, and now we're going on to another beef. This is another fun one. We got a Paddy versus Dan Hooker beef. Have you heard about this?
I have.
Oh, all right. So let me pull up the tweets for everybody in case people haven't seen it. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it right here in this story. Check this out. This is crazy. Dude, Pat, I listened to that interview too where Paddy was just talking crazy smack about Dan Hooker, about Arman Tsarukyan, all this stuff. Okay, so let's see if we can find our little headline. Hold on one second. Okay, here we go. So this is the original quote when he was on the MMA Guru interview. So he goes, yes, people are saying Gaethje is old, blah, 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 which is also, it is a BS narrative. He's right. But he's like, he's 2 years older than Dan Hooker, right? He's not that much older than Dan Hooker. And everybody's going crazy that Arman Tsarukyan beat Dan Hooker. I think it's a fair point. And I don't think Justin Gaethje looked awesome against Rafael Fiziev. People got to stop with this stuff. It's really outrageous because they're already trying to take the credit away from Paddy Pimblett, in my opinion. Then don't read this word aloud because we'll get in trouble. Then it says Dan Hooker couldn't grapple a effing R word off his mom. Okay, that's hardcore. That's hardcore. So that's the first part of the beef. And then Hooker responds. He goes, ain't said S when we were face to face. I thought we were mates, but you're not a very good mate, are you? At Paddy the Batty. And then he says, R.I.P. Rick. Do you know who he's referring to?
Yeah, his buddy that passed away.
Not only passed away, took his own life. Like, that is messed up. And then now he says it's on site, blah, blah, blah. And then Pimblett responded back, I thought we couldn't be mates because I'm ranked above you. You took a hypothetical joke about how bad your grappling is and responded by talking smack about my mate who committed suicide. Now that's the lowest of the low. On site is fine by me. You're utter dog crap at fighting. Okay. So there's the back and forth. Now, there's pros and cons to this back and forth. Obviously, things got a little nasty there. But the pro is this is always good fodder for a potential matchup down the line, depending on what happens with Paddy versus Gaethje, and then also with what happens versus Dan Hooker versus BSD, which is also coming up very soon. So, Justin, let me first turn it over to you. What do you think about these comments? Is anybody more in the wrong here, less in the wrong, or are they both kind of equally in the wrong with the extent that they took that those words to?
Yeah, I mean, when he uses the R word, I don't really look too deep into that. I mean, I don't think that's not that personal, I guess. But when you talk about a close friend that's committed suicide and you weren't a good friend to him, and insinuating that he wasn't a good enough friend to him to prevent him from doing that. I'm a Dan Hooker fan, but that was a little low. I'm not gonna not be a Dan Hooker fan because he said that, but I do think that was a little low.
I agree. I think I get the visual of, he just said that for effect. Like, he was like in the worst possible situation where you had to like go and rescue somebody. You wouldn't even be able to do it then. Obviously, yes, you don't want to conjure up that image, but you're right. It wasn't exactly a personal jab, but Dan Hooker fired back with something pretty personal and something pretty, I think, hurtful that wasn't a hypothetical. So I think Dan obviously took it to that level. Now, that being said, this is a little interesting, because I'm picking Paddy Pimblett to beat Justin Gaethje. But in the event that Paddy Pimblett loses and somehow if Dan Hooker beats BSD, which I don't actually think is going to happen at all, I think that's a very low probability. But if Dan Hooker does beat BSD, we got to fight. We got to fight. So let's talk about this fight. Let's talk about this matchup. I know you're a big Dan Hooker fan. How do you see it going? Break it down.
Here's the thing, man. When it comes to Paddy Pimblett, like, throughout the years, he's been slowly growing on me. I never thought he was that good to begin with, all right? Now, when I said I never thought is past tense. I've been turned around by him. He beat Tony Ferguson. It's like, oh, he beat a guy on a 7-fight win streak. But his last win was very credible. And,
yes.
What's that?
No, I said yes, I'm agreeing with you.
And I just was really impressed by it. I think he's getting better. I think he's taking his weight management a lot more serious than he has before. You don't see these big articles of him blowing up to 220. He might still be, which will, I think, ultimately be the demise of his career if that's the case. But he seems like he's turned a leaf. He's really grown on me. He's really unorthodox. He has really good wrestling, really good grappling. When he fought Jordan Levitt. And one of the things that, and people can be like, oh, the monkey god. Listen, I've trained with Jordan Levitt, and Jordan Levitt has a fight coming up, and Jordan Levitt is a really, really good grappler, a lot better than I ever thought he was. If you guys remember, when I was in the UFC, I was calling Jordan Levitt out. I'm like, this is a perfect matchup for me. He's a wrestler with good grappling. I think I'm a better grappler. Jordan Levitt came to Extreme Couture, and I'm not going to say he whooped me, but if someone was scoring the round, I think he definitely edged me in the round. And what a legend. After edging me in our grappling rounds, he went and helped my son and coached my son for a short period of time in the same room. But regardless, I think Dan Hooker is very dynamic on the feet, but I think Paddy Pimblett would take him down in sub him.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I think the fact that they are taking the credibility away from the Michael Chandler win is just outrageous to me. I mean, what's his name? Charles Oliveira beat Michael Chandler and got a title shot from him. People didn't really complain too much. Michael Chandler is still a very dangerous opponent. So it was a tough fight. It was a big move up. And to say that Chandler's old after people really weren't saying that against Oliveira, and he had his moments against Oliveira, granted, albeit by cheating at the end and with the back of the head shots, which he landed 2 of those or 3 of those or something on Paddy as well. That was a big win, and I think he should get credit for that. One thing I will say, though, you mentioned the eating being the demise of his potential career and that hopefully he's gone past that. Well, He said on the MMA Guru interview that he's like dying for food and he couldn't eat any of the holiday stuff. And he said, as soon as this fight ends, he cannot wait to get fat again. And he's planning to order an In-N-Out burger and a milkshake from In-N-Out as soon as the fight concludes. Now, I'm all for letting loose on the day of the fight or maybe the week of the fight, whatever, you know what I mean? Afterwards, go on vacation. But it does sound like to me he's planning to blow up again, which is a little bit disappointing. I hope that's not true because I do think that's a problem. You know, I mean, maybe he's just so talented and so good that it doesn't affect him. But I'd love to see, man, how cool would it be if you're like, if you all of a sudden saw Paddy just do a 180 and be like, you know what? I've done my research. I've realized what I was doing to my body. I'm going to be straight and narrow now. I'm going to always be in shape. I'm going to eat the cleanest, like do what Sean O'Malley's doing. Dial in his sleep, get the red light going, like do all these anti-inflammatory protocols and just be at the tippity top of his like physical of his physical potential. That would be amazing. I hope we see that at some point. It doesn't sound like we're going to see it anytime soon. All right. Hold on. We got a couple comments here that I want to highlight from Tehran. He says even if Paddy loses and if Hooker loses, I don't know though. If Hooker loses, I think he's going to plummet pretty far down the ranking. So I think Hooker needs to win and Paddy needs to lose to make that fight, but we shall see. He also says, in my opinion, Paddy is going to have to move up to 170. Yeah, he said that he will. He said in the interview, in the MMA Guru interview, that he will at some point move up to 170. And he also says JDM Michael is being targeted for 3. Okay. I heard this a while ago. I heard that JDM versus Michael Morales was happening at the White House card or whatever. But then I heard JDM talking about Carlos Prates. I heard him saying that he wants to fight Shavkat. So where did you hear this, Tehran? I'd love to know. But you're asking us, how do we feel about the fight? Hell yeah. This is a lit fight. Would I rather see JDM versus Carlos Prates? No, actually, this is sick. I love it. Michael Morales is one fight away from a title fight. This is the perfect fight. He's going to fight JDM, who's the former champ. I think he beats JDM. I don't have great evidence because I haven't broken down the fight styles completely yet, but I just have a feeling that he's gonna get it, put it to JDM. Justin, take it away. What do you think of this fight, and how do you think it goes down?
You know, am I mixing Morales up with Lerone Murphy in the sense of he was 20-0 and then Tapology just give him a loss on his record? 20
No, that's Morales. No, that's Michael Morales. That's what just happened.
That's
he's
what
back
I here. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's back to undefeated.
So,
that's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to jump the gun here. We're talking about JDM, who handled Bilal. We're talking about the former UFC champion. Until I break down these style matches, you know, Michael Morales, obviously very, very, very tough, but JDM has already been to the top of the mountain. Now, when we talk about being at the top of the mountain, sometimes it's really tough to get back, especially when they have the motivation. When you have Michael Morales hasn't been to the top of the mountain. So, you know, when you look at that matchup, you know, it's hard to go against Michael Morales, but then again, it's hard to go against JDM in the same sense. Has incredible boxing. If you guys saw my breakdown of JDM, man, he has some of the best body shots I've seen in not just the division, but all of the UFC. And I could really see him taking that to Michael Morales if he's in the right headspace. Does JDM really want to become the UFC champion again, or is he content with just getting paychecks? Time will tell.
The other thing that impressed me about Michael Morales as well, if I remember correctly, I have to double check this and look this up, but I remember he has like some pretty decent wrestling credentials as well, like growing up. Like he was competing in some wrestling tournaments or things like that. So I think he's probably maybe the more well-rounded fighter. Maybe that's not fair to say because maybe JDM has done so much work in the grappling department since. I mean, we saw what he did against Bilal, that they're actually pretty comparable, but I don't know. And plus, I feel like Michael Morales is kind of hot right now. As you mentioned, it's tough to get back to the top. I mean, we shall see. JDM's not that old. He's still pretty young. I think he's actually like 29 or something. I could be wrong about that, but I think he's fairly young. So I guess we shall see. Tehran says, yeah, Morales leaked it in an interview, and he says JDM. Yeah, I remember when he said that, but is that recent? Because I feel like he said that a while ago. And then he says JDM is good at avoiding big shots. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I guess we shall see. I'm looking for, if it does get announced, we'll have Justin break it down, and then we can all talk about it. That'll be really fun. All right, now we got a lot of fun little stories today. Dana White just did an interview with, I think it's like the guy who does My Mom's Basement interviews, and he claims, I won't even play the clip, but he said, hey, you know, is that headbutt that he did against Dan Hooker against the weigh-ins? He's like, is that part of the reason why you didn't pick Arman Tsarukyan to headline UFC 324? And Dana White says, yeah, that's part of it. There's a lot, but that's part of it. Yeah, I would say yes. So he said that a lot of people are reacting to that and saying, man, I think I cut out for a second. But a lot of people are saying, man, Arman has just done a lot of bad things. Paddy mentioned it as well. So he's headbutt. He missed the fight. He's done this. He's done that. He tried to fight a fan. These are all the reasons. Let me turn it over to you because I actually disagree completely and I have a different take, but I want to hear your thoughts first. Do you think that it's all these things that he has done that is why the UFC did not want to put him against Paddy Pimblett or Justin Gaethje for that matter for 324 for the belt?
I'm sure these affected the decision for sure. With that being said, we got to talk about star power. And I know people can say Arman Tsarukyan is a huge star, but he's not as big as a star as Paddy Pimblett. And what is better business for the UFC? Paddy Pimblett becoming the champion, Paddy Pimblett fighting, or Arman Tsarukyan? I mean, I'll watch Arman fight, but I'm not going to go out of my way to watch him fight. I'd rather see the rise of Paddy Pimblett than Arman Tsarukyan. And you got to think, like, Paddy Pimblett, you know, I'm not sure how his growing up situation is, but everybody loves the story of coming from nothing, the Conor McGregor story of essentially coming from nothing. Arman Tsarukyan is fighting because he loves to fight. He doesn't need to do this for financial gain. And when you have someone like Paddy Pimblett, who's on a superstar, his pressers are going to be way better than Arman Tsarukyan. And then not to mention, you have these incidents of fighting the fan, missing weight. So essentially, you know, everyone's like throwing a fit like, oh, he's not in the mix. He's already been put in the mix. He's already had his opportunity to fight for the belt, and he blew it himself. And then all these other little things, the headbutt, and then fighting the fan. I mean, those don't help his case.
What you said at the beginning is exactly my position. It simply was that Gaethje and Pimblett are a guaranteed banger. Gaethje and Pimblett are bigger stars. Gaethje and Pimblett are the guys that you want to headline the first ever Paramount fight to maximize the amount of new potential fans. And if Pimblett wins, they want Pimblett versus Ilya. How do I know that? Because they wanted Pimblett versus Ilya originally at UFC 324 on January 24th. That was the plan. So this is their chance to still have that super duper mega fight for the belt. Those are the reasons. What Dana White is now saying and what you're saying that didn't help. Yeah, maybe it didn't help to some small degree. But those are the reasons that Dana White is throwing out now so that he doesn't have to say, it was just straight up popularity. We want Paddy versus Ilya. We want the bigger fight. We want to do this to maximize. They don't want to say that. They don't want to reveal their hand. So they made the fight that is going to have the biggest impact for the sport, for the brand, for Paramount. And then they're rationalizing it after the fact. Hey, Arman knows what's up. He knows what he did. He's still in the doghouse, blah, blah, blah. But it's none of that. If Arman Tsarukyan moved the needle 5 times more than Paddy Pimblett, that's it. He'd be in there. It's no question. So I just think it's interesting, and I think we agree 100%. Not a lot of people are saying that. They're like, it's so unfair, blah, blah. Guys, you got to stop with that. You have to use your brain a little bit and just look at the partnership. Look at what they're trying to do. Look how much money Paramount just spent licensing this material. They're trying to squeeze every last bit of value out of this deal, and that starts with Paddy Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje headlining UFC 324. That's it. Done. Signed, sealed, delivered.
I agree 100%. I agree 100%.
So Tehran said, shaking my head, that headbutt wasn't even that serious compared. No, exactly. It wasn't that serious, which is why it wasn't really the reason. But Dana White can say that, so he doesn't have to reveal the true discussions and the business and the backroom deals and whatever not backroom deals, but like backroom conversations that him and Paramount is having. Because I'll bet you anything. I will bet you anything that Paramount has a say in the UFC scheduling right now and the UFC cards. At a minimum for this first year, but like probably throughout. I'm not saying they're micromanaging everything, but I guarantee you they're putting some pressure on the UFC to have huge, huge, huge events because this is the golden time right here. They're capitalizing on the buzz. The partnership just got announced. They got billboards everywhere. This is the first event. And on top of that, they have the fight at the White House. This is their year to get the most amount of subscriptions on. I can already see their game plan. They're trying to take down Netflix. They're trying to be the new entertainment super hub. So they need to maximize the value that they can get from this deal. And that's happening in the first year of this partnership. That's it. Tehran says, Justin is coming to Placebo. Yo, dude. Yes. Imagine if Justin Gaethje wins. Like, obviously, you love Justin Gaethje. I love Justin Gaethje. But imagine it's going to derail everything. Because, like, you could have Justin Gaethje versus Ilia Topuria, but, like, it's not the same whatever. You know what I mean? They've wanted this. Dude, how badly do you think the UFC is, like, praying to the MMA gods that Paddy Pimblett gets this done?
Here's the thing. I don't want to say that they're praying because here's the thing. If Justin Gaethje loses, he's already come out and said that he's going to retire. This will be his last fight. And there's so much value in Justin Gaethje, and there's so much violence in Justin Gaethje. I mean, losing, here's the thing, if Paddy loses, he's going to come back, and he can still become a star, and the UFC won't lose Justin Gaethje. So I'm not going to say they're praying. I mean, they're probably hoping that Paddy wins, but they're going to lose a huge superstar and a huge draw across the board. And they're going to lose a potential American fighter for the White House card, man. I mean, I can see why someone, and you're saying that they want him to lose, but man, they're going to lose a huge superstar if he does lose.
Yeah, but Gaethje, okay, let me counter that with Gaethje's going to retire soon anyways, whether he loses here and retires or he has one more fight, maybe two more fights. He's on his way out. Paddy is not. Paddy is just getting into his prime, number one. Number two, the type of matchup that they can have with Paddy versus Ilya. I know I thought this years ago. Paddy versus Ilya, which we thought would never happen, okay? But the heat and the feud has been so visceral. This is the first time, really, that we can ever have something even come close. And it could come close, and it could even be as big. I'm telling you that we've ever had to Conor versus Khabib. We can have that same level of anger, of animosity. These guys almost got into a fight already. They hate each other. I hope it's legit. I hope they're not putting on a front. I hope they haven't like made amends backstage. I want to believe it's real. So we're gonna assume the narrative is real. This is absolute gold in the hands of the UFC, and to have it, if it slips out of their fingers right now, they may never get it again, because who knows what's going to happen to Ilya. And then Paddy's going to have to win the next fight to get back, and they, to have this super fight for the belt, it's too good. So I think it would be a massive disappointment. I think they are banking on Paddy winning. I do think Paddy will win, but yeah, Justin Gaethje would be the ultimate spoiler if he does win. Tehran says, Trevor did an interview today saying Gaethje will retire depending on what happens in the, yeah, of course. 100%. Could have seen that a mile away. And then UFC is cooking in 2026 with Paramount. Can't wait until Holloway Oliveira. Yeah, I mean, that's a great fight, but you're more excited for that than Paddy versus Gaethje and Amanda Nunes versus what's it called? My favorite fighter, and I'm blanking on her name, Kayla Harrison. Yeah, you're more excited than that. I mean, dude, I am so excited for 324. I can't even, it's crazy. I think 324 is going to be unbelievable, but sure, that BMF fight will be cool. All right, Justin, this one I put in for you because you just released a video and a fight breakdown of O'Malley versus Song Yadong. Why don't you tell everybody about how you think this fight is going to go? This is the third fight on the main card of UFC 324. Take it away.
Super excited to talk about this fight, man. And Song Yadong, I've known a little bit about him. I've done a little bit of research on him in the past, but I really got to watch a lot of his fights. I probably watched 5 of his fights. This guy is an incredible power striker. Now, before I get into Sean O'Malley, let's talk about Song Yadong. Orthodox fighter with incredible power off his right hand. He has 3 submission wins, so he's not unfamiliar with going to the ground, but his right hand is his money shot. He stays in his orthodox stance. He kind of walks, he kind of labors forward. He's constantly throwing that right hand. Sometimes he'll even double and triple that right hand up. He'll throw it straight, and then if he finds himself a little too close, to his opponent, he'll loop that big overhand right. The thing with Song Yadong is he only needs to land one of these shots. He has that kind of power. Now, when we look at Sean O'Malley, in my opinion, does his best work when he's coming in and going out. What I mean by that is, I'll demonstrate the Sean O'Malley. So he'll be dancing, so he'll jump in with his jab, he steps back, and then bang, he'll throw that big cross. What he's doing is he's baiting his opponent to come forward. So it's like, bam, gotcha, ha, 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 bam, gotcha, ha, ha, ha. Then all of a sudden, someone like me or Song Yadong in that instance will be like, all right, motherfucker, next time you jab, I'm going to knock you out with a big shot. Well, he's anticipating that. He's anticipating that person to come forward, just like Song Yadong is going to. That's why Sean O'Malley puts his hands down a lot of times. Like when he fought Aljo, he actually had his hands down. I'm pretty sure it was Aljo. He had his hands down to his side. He lured Aljo to come forward, and then he sat on that right hand and was able to turn it over and knock him out. Another thing Sean O'Malley does really well is switch his stance side to side. So he's in, he's out. He's in, he's out. Then he'll switch to southpaw by leading with his right foot to the side. Once he catches that angle to the side, he'll throw a beautiful left body kick. He does the same thing on both sides. He's constantly switching his angles, left to right, in and out, left to right, in and out. Now, I can't remember the fight that I watched where he was throwing the body kick, kind of like Jon Jones and Daniel Cormier. Throw the body kick, guy leans into the body kick, bang, comes up top, cracks him in the head. So I think Sean O'Malley has the footwork advantage. I think he has the speed advantage. I think he has the technical advantage, and he definitely has the angle advantage. With that being said, I'm taking Sean O'Malley win by knockout, but if Song lands one big right hand, he can put Sean O'Malley's lights out at any time in this fight.
So it's very interesting. So what you're basically saying is Sean O'Malley kind of like baits his opponents. He gets them to come in so then he can counter with a big shot. And then that's super, super cool. I love that analysis. Now, going back to Song Yadong, you keep mentioning the power in his right hand. And I'm going to read you guys' comments in a second, right? So hang tight, John Dong and Tehran. But you mentioned the power that Song Yadong has. So do you think he has much more power than Sean O'Malley?
Well, I mean, he looks like he does, but Sean O'Malley, when we talk about power, I'm talking about like brute force and strength. I think Song has more strength, but Sean O'Malley, the way he throws his punches and the range he throws his punches. Now, when you look at someone like me or Song Yadong, I'm going to compare myself to Song Yadong because we're kind of built similar, kind of like built like a little bulldog, and we have little short arms. Not, I would say short arms, but we're power punchers. So when we throw our punch, sometimes we turn over that overhand and really get torque. Sean O'Malley is a different style of fighter, and there's another guy at the gym just like him, Zach Jusola, Nick Diaz, not so much. He doesn't have the power, but Sean O'Malley's range. So I can throw short shots or kind of I'm more of a short shots power puncher where I can throw big uppercuts, hooks, and overhands where I'm power. Someone like Sean O'Malley's arms are longer where they're like whips. So when Sean O'Malley can keep you at range and he can still hit those shots at long range and have a lot more power. If I throw my arm a straight cross, Sean O'Malley's power is going to be a lot more because I got short, stubby arms. When you have someone like Sean O'Malley who has longer, skinnier arms, they hit you at the end of the punch. It has a little bit more power than someone like Yadong at range. But when they're in tight, Song, I feel, is going to have more. Song is going to have more power in tight, and he needs to make this fight chaotic, right? He can't play at range and just try to go in and out with Song. He just kind of needs to go forward, hopefully not get cracked by Sean on his way in and land a big shot. So again, to go back to my point, Sean O'Malley has incredible power at range where Song has it in more of a chaotic way.
Awesome. Very, very well said. Okay. I'm with you. I'm taking Sean O'Malley as well. Part with my heart, part with my brain. But we're going to go through some comments here. John Dong says, I'm so hyped for Silva versus Allen. Oh my God. Yeah, that's another fight we got to break down too. Dude, you got a lot of homework, dog, in the next 2 weeks. Jean Silva versus...
I think I've done two. I did Kayla Harrison.
Song you've done Kayla Harrison.
I think I got 2 or 3 more.
Yeah, and then I cannot wait to hear you do Paddy Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje, even though I feel fairly confident how that's going to go. But yeah, John Silva versus Arnold Allen is sick. This is a sick fight. I'm looking forward to when you break that down. But we got a while.
Well, I think we just lost Huzefa here. He'll be logged back on early in a second. But hey, just to go ahead and touch on this, Strickland versus Fluffy. I was actually in the gym yesterday. Sean was working with Danny Davis, and I tell you what, he looks sharp right now, man. He's he's not really getting away from his standards technique, kind of just walking Danny down with that teep kick to his jab cross. I mean, this is going to be a banger of a fight. I really can't wait. Huzefa's phone might have died, but we'll take it away. I don't know what our next topic was. Let me look up what our next topic was before I lose too much.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Yep, I hear you. You just got
hold on. Your camera just went out.
Yeah, I did because I was looking at what the topics were. I was going to go.
Okay, I got booted off. I don't know what happened. I just got booted off the Wi-Fi. Sorry about that, guys. Can I go back to reading the comments real quick?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. All right. Sorry. And Strickland versus Fluffy. This is amazing. Tehran says Gaethje Pimblett is good. Oh, you like Holloway versus Oliveira more? I don't, but I think it's going to be a great fight regardless. But yeah. Tehran's going with Song Yadong. Imagine Prime Dillashaw versus Sean O'Malley. That would be sick. Tehran says, I would like to see O'Malley move up to 145. Yeah, I mean, that's going to happen at some point, but we shall see. I'm not like itching for that to happen right now, but that will be cool. Tehran says Song needs to take O'Malley down, in my opinion. Yeah, that also could be part of his game plan. Corey Sandhagen is similar to O'Malley. Yeah, similar for sure. And Dowgate DC versus Jon Jones 3. Maverick been commenting a lot on our videos. What's up, Maverick? Welcome back. Okay. Was there anything you were in the middle of saying when I got cut off, or should I just keep going?
I just was talking about Strickland and Fluffy.
Okay. What did you want to say?
Oh no, I just was saying that I just was watching Sean train yesterday. He's working a similar game plan that he does in every fight. I think Sean's pretty consistent. I mean, he's never going to change his game plan drastically, even if it feels better. I think he's just going to walk forward, throw those teep kicks, and throw that long jab cross.
All right. Well, we shall see how that works against Fluffy, and it's going to be a great test because, dude, if he wins, oh my God, we could get Sean Strickland versus Khamzat Chimaev, which is just, oh, it's too good. It's going to be so good. But anyways, last topic. Have you heard about this? I made a video about this 2 days ago. Jiri versus Ulberg. Jiri came out and said, hey, guys, don't read too much into the rumors because we are still negotiating, which means that the UFC is trying to apparently get Jiri Prochazka versus Carlos Ulberg set up. And Jiri also said in that same video that I only want to fight for gold. The implications are, oops, there's a little typo there. The implications are that Jiri Prochazka will be fighting Carlos Ulberg for UFC Gold, which means Alex Pereira is moving up to heavyweight probably, this is probably what's happening. But first, let me turn it over to you, Justin. Jiri, who lost to Alex Pereira twice, but he just beat Khalil Roundtree, an amazing Muay Thai striker, going up against Carlos Ulberg. Carlos Ulberg had a phenomenal victory in his last fight, caught the guy with the lead left hook, as you predicted. How do you see this matchup going if these two guys are matched up? Of course, given the momentum that they both have, what do you think is going to happen?
I think Jiri takes too much damage, and Ulberg's going to find that home for that left hook. It's not like he's done it once. It's not like he's done it twice. He's done this over and over and over. And Jiri's just known for taking way too much damage. I think Ulberg's just going to have too much power, and he's going to put him out.
Oh, man. I was still hoping you were going to say Yuri's going to win. I feel like I'm just going to pick Jiri with my heart because I want Jiri as champ. He's such a legend, as light heavyweight champ, and the guy's on a tear right now. What he did to Khalil blew my mind because Khalil was actually absolutely smashing him, and then he came back and won. Like, I just pray and hope that you're wrong on this one, and we get Jiri. Plus, Jiri as champ, he's such a legend. He's going to be so emotional, so authentic. So I just hope that happens. We got a couple of comments here. Tehran says, John Morales has to be a 5-round co-main event of UFC 327 if the fight actually happens. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Co-main would be amazing for that. 10-7 is back. The other 10-7. Friend of the channel, Jiri Prochazka. Let's go. Let's go for that. Jiri will dispatch of Carlos Prates. What? Carlos? Oh, Carlos Ulberg. What did I say? My bad. I got confused. And then Tehran says, I'm riding with Jiri. Let's go. Riding with Jiri as well. And if you guys could like the stream right now, thank you everybody who's joining on. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. If you could like the stream, we'd find that great. All right, Justin, last thing, that the implications of this is that Alex Pereira, as I mentioned, is moving up to heavyweight. I made a whole prediction of what I think this means for the heavyweight division, but let me turn it over to you. What do you think this means? If Alex Pereira is basically 100% moving up to heavyweight, what's going down in the heavyweight division?
Man, I mean, there's just so many moving pieces in the heavyweight division right now. A lot of great fighters. You just made a video about Gable Stevenson going up to heavyweight. Jon Jones obviously isn't coming back. We have Tam Aspinall. Who knows what's going on with him? There's just a lot of unknowns in the heavyweight division. For Alex Pereira to be going up, trying to become a 3-division champion is nothing short of incredible. And I hope he does. And I hope he goes up there and takes gold.
But who do you think he's gonna let's play it out a little bit more, because I already gave my prediction. I can tell it to you in a second. By the way, Izzy Slot says you're welcome. Thank you, Izzy. Hope that makes you like the stream. Oh yeah, he liked the stream. What's up, Izzy? Yeah. All right. So give me your thoughts. What do you think is gonna happen? Oh wait, Izzy Slots. Hold on. How many fights does Gable need before contend? What do you mean? He should be in the UFC yesterday. He doesn't need no fights in the Contender Series. Bring him in, put him in against the top 10 guy. He will smash them, and then just get him 2 more fights and 1 more fight, and then after, so he needs 2 fights, and he's there for a title shot. Let's go. Let's just get this guy in there. He could smash everybody, in my opinion, right now, with the exception of maybe Tom Aspinall and Cyril Gane. So that's my 2 cents. I think, Justin, you kind of agree with me, right?
Yeah, I agree. And I've seen some things that, people saying that, oh, Curtis Blades, they'll give him a fight. Listen, Curtis Blades is a good wrestler. He's one of the better wrestlers in the division. But we're talking about an Olympic gold medalist that's 25 years old, that walked onto the Bills practice squad with never playing football before. He's a superstar athlete. He's a superstar wrestler. There's nobody in the wrestling world that holds a candle to him that's in MMA right now.
Izzy Slots says, I agree, but will Mick Maynard let him in at just 2-0? Well, he's
Hey, should I
also
just
had.
bring Izzy in right now? He's just sitting next to me right
You
now.
get it if you want, dude. But the other thing is this. Listen. He's 2-0, but you forget about his dirty boxing match, so that puts him at 3-0. And he's had all those 3 victories in like the span of 3 months, and he smashed everybody. And with his credentials, dude, I think they'll bring him right in. And Dana White just said on the interview too today that of course they have their eyes on Gable Steveson. So I dude, don't even put him in the contender series. There's no point. Bring him in. He will smash his first opponent. And maybe that's a little overly ambitious, 2 fights in the title shot. I'm kind of being a bit hyperbolic, but like, I think, go ahead. Tell me.
Brock Lesnar had 3 to the title shot.
There we go.
So
that,
I mean,
like, we
2,
could do
3. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, and he's 10 times the athlete Brock Lesnar ever was, and 10 times the credential in the wrestling world.
This is the only thing that bums me out is that Gable Steveson, once he gets into the UFC, he's going to stop Khamzat from being triple champ. That's the one guy. Gable Steveson is the one guy that I think I would favor to beat Khamzat. That's literally the only guy. I would put Khamzat over any of these guys, even in the heavyweight division. I think once he puts on the weight, I think he could beat anybody except Gable. Gable worries
everybody, he says. He doesn't understand how big of a Khamzat fan you are. You could literally probably put him up against Brock Lesnar, and Khamzat would probably out wrestle him.
I think Khamzat would beat Brock Lesnar. I think the only person that he would have a hard time. I'm serious. I think he would beat Brock Lesnar, but I think he's just he's better. I think he's just a substantially better and faster grappler, better striker. Brock would be much bigger, but I think that Khamzat could beat him eventually when he puts on the weight. Gable, I don't know. I think I would. It pains me to say it, but I would probably lean towards Gable Steveson if he had to fight Khamzat.
51%, 5150, 5149.
I don't know. We have to see how Gable does in the UFC. It might go higher in Gable's favor. I don't know. Okay, Toronto says Spivak should be. Oh yes, let's do it. That'd be a great debut. Okay, but anyways, we're getting a little bit off topic here. Let's come back to Alex Pereira. I want to ask you if Alex is definitely moving up. What do you think the UFC has planned? And if you're not sure, I'll tell you what my theory is.
I think he was going to put him up against a striker, and Cyril Gane's right there in contendership. I think it's Alex Pereira, Cyril Gane, because they want a striker's delight in that first matchup. They're not going to put him against a wrestler to have him lose. I think the UFC loves Alex Pereira, that he can beat Cyril Gane, and I think they're going to set him up for success.
Yes, that's what I'm predicting. And what do you think they're going to do to Tom Aspinall?
Put him on the sideline until he's ready to come back.
Dude, they're going to strip him.
That could be too. I think it's a little too fast to strip. I think, especially with how long they held with Jon Jones, but it's definitely possible.
Here's my theory. This is why I think they're going to strip Jon Jones. Yeah, Tehran agrees. I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to break it down. I cracked the code, dog. I figured it out. I'm surprised my video hasn't gotten like 10,000 views because of this, because I swear I figured it out. Tom Aspinall has dug his own grave because he has come out and talked about this eye poke ad nauseum. Most fighters don't do that because they don't want to give too much information to their opponents or the promotion. Tom, in his own words, who's already in a bad spot with the UFC, keeps saying, I don't know, mate. I don't know what's happening. I'm getting a surgery. I don't know. I'm just trying to get back to health. And he's not got one eye that needs to recover. He's got 2 eyes that need to recover. And he himself has said he still has blurry vision. They can easily say, look, dog, you said for the last month and a half, your eyes are jacked up. It was a horrible eye poke. You, in your own words, don't know when you're coming back. You can come back when you're ready. But for now, we think it's in the best interest because you have been so uncertain. We think you should vacate. Let's let the division move on. We got a big fight. Alex Pereira wants to move up. He wants to go for triple champ status. You are now taking away this stagnated, stalemated, stalemated division, and you're now injecting massive amounts of excitement into the division because if Alex Pereira can come up and win, he can be the first ever triple champion in the UFC. And his best chance to win is to fight Gane. I guarantee you the UFC strips Tom Aspinall within the next few months. They make Cyril Gane versus Alex Pereira, and that's going to be maybe in March, maybe in April. If Alex Pereira wins, which I'm leaning towards ever so slightly, if Alex Pereira wins, then there is a chance that we get Alex Pereira versus Jon Jones at the White House for the heavyweight title and for the ultimate GOAT status. What do you think?
Yeah, that's it. That'd be great. I'd be okay with Jon Jones coming back then from the vacated, as long as he's not the champ, as obviously he's not anymore because they stripped him from his belt. But I'd be fine with him trying to make a resurgence coming back for the White House card.
That's the blueprint, dog. If I'm right on this, which I really, really think I'm right, and I'm not the only person that said this. There's one other, MMA Joey is also on the same exact, we're on the same exact mindset here. His video came out first, but I was already thinking this as well, but we're on the same tip. If I'm right, you guys got to give me my due. You guys got to give me my credibility that I'm like seeing into the future. But I swear that's what's going to happen. Anyways, we shall see. That's all we got for you guys today. Thank you guys so much. If you guys want to tune in tomorrow on Spectation Sports, you can watch me and Justin chop it up and commentate. You can see some of his fighters as well. We've got one of his main fighters just had an amazing win in December. Lars Wittenberger, he's coming back. Quick turnaround. Just like Salsa Boy here, fighting in December, fighting in January, same as Lars. So he's coming around, we're going to have a great fight tomorrow, and we shall see how that goes. Anyways, thank you guys so much for joining. Appreciate the viewership, and we will see you in the next video. Take it easy.